What is up guys, Jarv here, back today jumping into Destiny. We are back with another This Week in Destiny, giving you all the heads up on everything that you can expect for the up and coming week. This week is absolutely stacked. We have the conclusion of the sales of the Ship Stealer quest. We also have a brand new Kingsfall raid challenge, new featured raid and dungeon content, a new Grandmaster Nightfall and Nightfall exclusive loot, a new range of seasonal challenges, and more importantly, what Tess has available for Bright Dust this week. There's certainly a lot to get through, so be sure to stick around and enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to leave a comment and rating down below, and remember to subscribe for more Destiny 2 content. Just under 65% of the viewers on the channel aren't currently subscribed, so make sure to hit that red button and ring that bell to make sure you don't miss an update. But without further delay guys, let's jump into the video. Now another week and another This Week in Destiny. This week is week 8 of Season of Plunder, and we actually see the conclusion of the sales of the Ship Stealer quest. This was the first quest we got when Season 18 launched. This won't be the conclusion of the entire story for Season 18 though, as there is another quest alongside a community event and also a brand new vendor coming later in the season. We made a video covering details of that last week, so if you didn't check out that video, make sure to do so, and I'll leave the link to that down in the video description below. But between now and then, Festival of the Lost will kick off on the 18th of October, and we'll hopefully have more details on that later this week. Now alongside the conclusion of that event, we also have a new Master Raid challenge in the Kingsfall raid, and this can be found in the Daughters of Oryx encounter. This one's called Under Construction, and this encounter, players cannot stand on the same plate twice in a single phase. Now out of all the challenges in this raid, this is probably going to be the easiest, because after each player is torn and they grab their plate guard, everyone simply needs to rotate in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction to the next plate, ensuring a unique plate during each phase. And if for any reason you find yourself at a plate that you've already stood on, or you become torn, then one of the floaters in the team will be able to stand on that plate for you. As I said, it's probably the easiest challenge in the Kingsfall raid, and will be your best opportunity to get your hands on some sweet new Harrowed raid loot. Now from here we're going to move on to the featured raid and dungeon content. As for the featured raid this week, we return to the Deepstone Crypt that launched alongside Beyond Light. This is definitely one of the more accessible raids in Destiny 2, so whether you're new to raiding, or you want to get your hands on some sweet weapons and armor, or even the Eyes of Tomorrow exotic rocket launcher, this week will be the week to get your hands on those. As for the featured dungeon, we return to the Grasp of Avarice that launched within the 30th anniversary pack. So once again, whether you're chasing Artifice armor, the Galahorn exotic rocket launcher, or you're just looking for the pinnacle loot that you can get for defeating the final bosses in both the raid and dungeon this week, then make sure to jump into these if you still find yourself on the power grind. Now next up we're going to move on to Dares of Eternity and the 30th anniversary pack activity, and we have 2 armor sets in rotation this week. This week sees the Jinsham Knight suit set return, the original armor set from IO in Destiny 2 Vanilla, alongside the Karios Function suit set, which again is the armor set from Curse of Osiris. So if you wasn't playing Destiny way back then, these are great opportunities to get these armor pieces, and these can drop during the activity or when you complete the activity itself. Now as for weapons this week, we have a massive range of weapons from Season of Arrivals and Season of the Worthy. These include the Nature of Beasts hand cannon, the Fallen Guillotine, the False Promises, the Temptation's Hook, the Cold Denial, the Whispering Slab, the Hollowed Words, the Seraph Carbine, the Officer Revolver, the CQC-12 Shotgun, the SI-2 Sidearm, the VY-7 Submachine Gun, the Truth Teller Grenade Launcher, and the Seraph Machine Gun itself. And much like the armor, these can drop during the course of the activity when you complete it, or by handing strange coins at the Star Horse over in the Treasure Hoard. Now from here we're going to move over to the weekly activities, and this week sees Lightblade return as a Nightfall and Grandmaster Nightfall in Destiny 2. But if you can absolutely nail it, then the Mindbender's Ambition is available for a Nightfall exclusive reward. And further still, if you can pull it off on Grandmaster, you'll also be able to get your hands on the Adept version of that weapon. So if you find yourself missing this from your collection, or you're still working towards your Conqueror Seal, then make sure to jump into Nightfalls this week in order to get those done. Now as for the Crucible, the Crucible Rotator is Rift. Rift returns as a non-Iron Banner based game mode, which has been replaced with Eruption. So if you fancy mixing it up with the other Crucible Rotators that we have each and every week, then make sure to jump to Rift to grab an easy pinnacle reward. Now from here we're going to move on to the Lost Sectors for the up and coming week. Now on Tuesday's reset we'll be jumping over to the K1 Logistics with Barrier and Overload champions, with exotic helmets being up for grabs. On Wednesday, K1 Communion will be in rotation, also with Barrier and Overload champions, however this time offering exotic boots. Thursday sees Skye back in rotation with Barrier and Unstoppable champions this time, with a new pair of exotic gauntlets up for grabs. Friday sees Scavenger's Den return with Barrier and Overload champions, and those exotic chest pieces will be available. As for Saturday, the Quarry will be in rotation, again with Barrier and Unstoppable champions, with exotic helmets once again being available. Now as for Sunday, Excavation Site returns with Barrier and Unstoppable champions, with another opportunity to get a pair of exotic boots. And finally on Monday, Concealed Void returns with Barrier and Overload champions this time, with another opportunity to get a pair of exotic gauntlets. So if you find yourself chasing a specific exotic, then make sure to plan your week accordingly. And if you want to look at this calendar yourself, then I'll be sure to leave the link to Today in Destiny down in the video description below. Now from here we're going to move over to the seasonal challenges, and there are just 6 new challenges for week 8 of Season of Plunder. We kick off with Antiquarian 8, and he needs to return the 8th relic to the helm whilst also defeating champions anywhere across the system, and champions defeated in Catch, Crash and exhibitions will grant additional progress. That's alongside Sextant Navigation 2, and he needs to collect map fragments and treasure coordinates throughout the season. Map fragments can be attained by completing Catch, Crash, and treasure coordinates can be acquired from ritual activities. That's alongside Barrage, and he needs to defeat champions and bosses in Catch, Crash. Next we have Pinnacle, and he needs to reach the power level of 1580 by earning Pinnacle rewards. That's alongside Hold the Trigger, and he needs to calibrate machine guns, scout rifles and sidearms, and rapidly defeating combatants and defeating guardians will award you additional progress. And the final challenge for this week is called Intended Mischief, and this is where you have to acquire the Gambit ornament for the Cry Mutiny grenade launcher. Now some of these challenges will offer repute, and all of them will offer Challenger XP, and on top of that some will also offer Bright Dust, which brings us nicely onto the final section of this video, and that's what Tess has available for Bright Dust in week 8 of Season of Plunder. Now over in the featured Bright Dust shelf we have Sephirial Ruminations. This is a brand new exotic emote that was introduced this season, so if you didn't pick this up for 1,000 silver, you can pick it up this week for 3,250 Bright Dust. That's alongside Tethy's exotic Ghost Shell, a Telesto themed Ghost Shell introduced this season. This forms part of a cosmetic set, so if you're missing this will set you back 2,850 Bright Dust this week. That's alongside the Catch Flight Transmat effect. This was introduced back in Season of the Hunt, so if you missed out on this one, this will set you back 450 Bright Dust this week. As for the shader this week, Jacarina returns. This was introduced in Season of Arrivals and is a firm fan favourite. So if this is missing from your collection, be sure to pick it up, and this will set you back 300 Bright Dust this week. Now over in the main Bright Dust store we have another exotic emote. This is a multiplayer emote called Take a Seat. Sadly we don't have a preview of this, but make sure to check it out, and this will set you back 3,250 Bright Dust this week. That's alongside a legendary emote called Fancy Hat Roll. This is one of my personal favourites and will set you back just 700 Bright Dust this week. That's alongside the Skiff Scribbles exotic Ghost Shell, once again brand new this season, so if you're a big fan of these Fallen themed items, then make sure to pick this up, and this will set you back 2,850 Bright Dust this week. Alongside that we have Saints Vocation, an old exotic ship way back from Season of the Worthy. If you missed out on this one and are collecting, this will cost 2,000 Bright Dust this week. And next up we have Universal Armor Ornaments, and these are for the Fortnite sets this week, and this week sees the class item for each and every class. We have the Eternal Vengeance Cloak for the Hunter, alongside the Nightly Noir Mark for the Titan, and finally the Painted Kitsune Bond for the Warlock. If you're collecting this entire set and don't want to spend silver on it, then make sure to pick these up this week, and each one will set you back 1,600 Bright Dust. Now the penultimate item on offer is a ghost projection called Stasis. This was introduced back in Season of the Hunt as well, so once again if you're collecting, this will set you back 1,500 Bright Dust this week. And the final item on offer is an exotic weapon ornament for the Wave Splitter, and this is called Pseudoscience. Now this is an absolutely awesome weapon ornament, so make sure to check it out and pick it up if you wish, and this will set you back 1,250 Bright Dust this week. So there we have it guys, a good look on everything that we can expect in week 8 of Season of Plunder. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to check out one of the 2 videos you see here in these cards for more Destiny 2 content. And if you want to keep up to date with everything to do with Destiny 2, then be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to jump back into the game as always guys, and I will catch you all again very soon.